So, well, Andy, what kind of catches your eye about Hawaii? It seems like you have a couple guys who can run the ball, and I know that's not always in the past been what Hawaii does. But what kind of catches your eye?
Well, I know this. The mentality in which they're playing with, is good. I think they're doing a good job with the culture of that team, and obviously building it the way they want it. Their run game, they're physical up front now. Big O-line as they usually have, and it always starts with that. We got to do a great job. We got to do a better job up front than we have with our front seven. Obviously, the safeties fitting in and around the ball in the run game, and doing a better job of finishing at the point of attack.
They made a quarterback change. Dru Brown has taken over, and he's really kind of sparked him. Maybe not last week, but in pretty much the games before that. What do you kind of see from him?
You know what? Similar to what we have seen, and that's the thing, that makes defending mobile quarterbacks that can run and throw the ball and who have wide receivers and weapons to get the ball to. It's not only can you get to the quarterback, but when you get there, can you get him on the ground? So those are the difficulties that you face. Those are the fun things that you get to handle, being on the defense side of the ball.
Talking to Coach about Dylan's on DSG, what did you kind of do over the last couple of weeks to obviously earn that starting spot back, I guess?
It's been a work in progress with DSG, and it's been, something we're trying to create consistency, not only with him, but obviously with all our players. And he's really done a great job in practice and had a great attitude. And what he's done in practice showed up, obviously, especially in that first series last week. And the play he made, that's what we've been looking for. That's the spark we need, for a guy to execute his technique the way he did, post technique there, and, played 2-to-1 just like we teach him right back into the post. I mean, you put that on the drill tape example for 2-3 years after this, and then obviously went up and attacked the ball and finished on the ball is what we've been looking for. And he's provided that spark in practice, and he was able to go in there and do it in the game, and actually did a really good job consistently in the game.
What does that do for him too, I guess? I mean, it has been a little bit of up and down season, you could say, and then the third play of his first start, he goes and gets his first career pick.
Yeah, confidence is everything, right? Confidence is everything, not only for him, but like I said, to give that spark to the rest of the defense. And so something to build off of, definitely. I mean, we got to obviously do a better job than what we've done coverage-wise in the last 2 games. And but there's one thing right there where, we've improved. We've improved from what we've done.
I know that they had that long run late in the game, which kind of skewed some of the numbers.
Yeah,
but
they still had some rushing yards, though.
Overall, I mean, with the 31 points and the yards they had, what were they doing, or what were you guys not doing that kind of let them move the ball?
You know what? I mean, up front, we didn't execute as well as we have in the past, and we got to make sure that we do a much better job of executing up front. And when we do that between the D-line and the linebackers, and when we execute with our fundamentals up front on the D-line, and the linebackers are helping the D-line by pulling O-linemen off them, by attacking and playing fast and setting edges, we've been successful. And we've got to do a much better job, especially, with our perimeter defense and setting edges. Because if you don't, it allows for more space inside, obviously more air for the ball carriers.
With the last 2 games, lack of sacks, is that mostly just because they have the mobile quarterbacks that have been able to get out of them, or is the D-line doing something differently than when they were getting sacks earlier in the season?
You know what? I think that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, it's the November grind, and guys, we don't have a tremendous amount of depth. We got to do a better job. We got to keep, and we did in the last game, keep rotating guys through to help keep the guys that were and are making plays for us, to help keep them fresh, so we could keep them productive. It's a long season. And if we're going to get the 110% of the guys that they're willing to give us, we got to make sure we keep them fresh to get their best.
How would you describe kind of how Moxie's played this year? And he hasn't gotten the picks, but it seems like he's been pretty active. He's been a pretty solid tackler, it looks, and he's been involved obviously in breaking up passes and stuff.
Yeah, he's been right there contending passes all season long, and has done a really solid job in the boundary side corner for us. And a lot of times you get formations where he's singled up and stuff back there on the boundary side, and he's done a really good job competing. The biggest thing, the thing we're most proud of him right now is just his mental fortitude that, hey, if something does happen, to be able to come right back, line back up, and do exactly what you're supposed to do, and not let the last play affect the next play. And I think he's done a pretty good job because, you know what they say, you're out there on an island sometimes.
What did you see on that when they initially called targeting on him again, and then
Yeah.
they took it away? I mean, on the broadcast, when I rewatched the game, they were like stunned that they took it away. They thought it was textbook targeting. But I mean, were you nervous when you saw it? I don't know if you had a replay right away or what. But.
Yeah, I was able to see it, but to me it was clearly, I mean, he was going for the ball and then shoved the guy down with his hands. So yeah, he was up high on the wide receiver, but I think that was more because the ball was hung up in the air a little bit there, and he was initially going for it, and then realized, okay, I can't get to it without going through the guy, so he played the guy and shoved him down. I think a lot of times the look of the play causes the initial reaction, which I get it. It's where we need to go with the game. Just very fortunate that they're able to review it and say, hey, you know what, maybe that wasn't exactly what it looked like when it happened, you know, bang, bang on the field where things are happening really fast. You know, it's fair to say.
With I know we've talked about him in the past too, but Ben Weaver, he's got like 31 tackles over the last 2 games, and you know, kind of early in the season we thought that the depth there rotating in a bunch, and it just seems like he kind of finds himself on the field more often than not. Still, what does he bring to the table? It's so valuable, and how's he so good at obviously getting to the ball? Yeah,
I mean, he's made a lot of plays over there on the boundary side, and we've talked about it. You know, we're getting a little bit more action over there to the boundary side and than the field side, but he's doing a great job of seeing his keys. He's a pretty good player in the run game now. He is great in the run game. He has great instincts and stuff, and I think that helps him be productive. Now, once again, I mean, in the last 2 games, you've seen us on the field a little too much. So obviously, he's done a good job helping us over there. But when we're having to make that many tackles, we're probably on the field too much. So we got to do a better job of executing on 3rd downs, especially, and getting off the field.
You kind of mentioned a little bit that this quarterback can move around quite a bit, and you know, it's probably the 3rd one in a row. Kind of like that for you guys. These last 2 games, obviously, those quarterbacks have done pretty well against you. What do you need to do, maybe differently, to try to negate that a little bit this next game?
Well, I think it's unbelievable. I mean, our guys, they will do exactly what we ask them to do, and sometimes over too much. And in terms of the pass rush, when we're playing quarterbacks like this, we've got to attack the blocker and go beat and win the one-on-ones if we're going to have a chance of the man who's standing in front of us. We can't be attacking someone and looking in the backfield and trying to figure out where's the quarterback, because then we don't win that one-on-one and we don't get off those blocks. So we must stay on the attack and not be on the defense, if that makes sense. And that will help us.